Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of B to Z. This is Queenless Hive Part 2. I took a quick peek at it a few days after I did Part 1, and there was actually 2 capped cells and 1 uncapped cells on November 24, and then June 24, and then June 30, I noticed that the queen actually had hatched. And I saw the cell that she came out of, and she was newly hatched. She was very pale looking, and she wasn't mated. She was freshly hatched. She was very pale looking, very white. So today is July 5th. It's been 5 days. I'm going to start looking for eggs at this point and go from there. So stay with me and let's take a peek. So I've already smoked the entrance. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe now. Don't forget to subscribe. A quick look at what the inside looks like. A good amount of bees. Really surprised on how many bees are still in here, despite them not having consistent brood now for a couple of months. I've been adding a frame here and there for them to be able to create their own queen. And that's probably also what we're seeing here, is the population is not going down as quickly as it probably could have if I let this hive go without an inspection. So I tend to do frequent inspections when I know there's no queen. This way I can monitor the situation. If you know you don't have a queen and you put in a frame of eggs and you wait a month before you start inspecting again and they never started a queen cell, then you just lost an entire month of them creating a queen. So when I put a frame of eggs in, I'll inspect like 3-4 days later, because at that point they should have already started making a queen cell. Let's go ahead and take out this last frame here. There's nothing going on this side of the box. A couple of bees and nothing else there. And then after, if I see some queen cells being made at the 3-day point, then I'll wait about a week, 5-7 days, and next time I look at it, I'm looking for that cell to be capped and how many were capped. So sometimes they'll start creating queen cells and then they tear them down. So bees they're funny like that. So let's look at this first frame here. This side doesn't have anything. There's nothing in the cells. We'll look at the next frame, the other side. There's still some brood. This was the frame that had the queen cell on it, and the queen cell has been torn down. Let's see if I can grip this guy without damaging any bees right now. And right there is the queen cells that they had. There was 2 there, and then there was 1 around here somewhere. Right there. Here it is. And it's been torn out. All 3 of them are done. They're gone. I don't see a queen on this frame. You know, they say that when the queens come back, they come back to the frame that they were hatched from, but not quite sure if I agree with that 100%. You know, once they come in the hive, maybe they first come to their frame, but then they move around. So when you check, you don't normally see them on that frame. So, but there is some brood here. This will be a good frame for her to start on, since there's already a good amount of nurse bees on this frame. So, and once you see that queen cell capped, you want to again go back in another 5-7 days and make sure that queen cell actually hatched. So you can get into instances where you have a laying worker and they'll start laying queen cells and etc., and they're not really real queen cells. Nowhere near being viable. They tear them down, and you can see that when they tear them down. So once you see it capped, then you can start And then at that point, if you want to wait 2 weeks, you know, a week for them to hatch and then a week for her to be mated, then that would not be a bad idea. But again, I don't like to waste any time. I like to make sure that it's progressing, and so I'll go ahead and check a week later again and make sure that she's actually hatched. And then at that point, let's put this in the sun real quick. I'm looking for eggs. And then at that point, you can start inspecting for eggs after you think that she's, you know, after she should have been mating by that time. So I don't quite agree with the guys. I don't check it more often, especially if you don't have a lot of hives. There's no reason why you can't get into it, you know, like about every 5 days after putting some eggs into a hive that's queenless, to ensure that they're progressing. Otherwise, you'll end up with a big laying worker mess. I don't see any eggs here. I do see some pollen. Doesn't look like it's fresh pollen. I see some nectar. We'll go ahead and show you that frame. So not much there. The next frame looks like it's got quite a bit of activity. It's covered in bees. We'll go ahead and look at that frame and see what we find. So even if you have a laying worker issue, there's always ways to fix that. And it's not by dumping your bees. Don't dump your bees. There's no need for that. All you got to do is just combine your laying worker hive with a queen right hive. Quite a bit of bees here. Let me look for eggs. Put it in the sun real quick. Don't see any queen. I don't see any eggs. See some nectar, some pollen. And then the backside doesn't have many bees at all. So she's probably not back yet. So it's been 5 days since I know she's hatched, and still don't see no eggs. And that doesn't mean I'm going to put in some more eggs at this point. It's too early. You know, they can take about a week to come back and start laying, and I've seen that. I've seen where they take about a week and a half, and I'm thinking that, you know, it didn't work out, and then I look really closely and there's eggs. I've even tried putting eggs, more eggs in it, and then they don't do anything with it, and then when I come back again a week later, there's eggs. So sometimes it can take a little longer, and that's okay. So again, if you have a queenless hive, put some eggs in your hive. And this, you gotta understand, this is coming from Florida. Just smush that guy. Sorry, guy. In Florida, you know, I've done splits as early as April this year. I'm sure I can do it sooner. And I've done them as late as November. So you gotta understand where I'm coming from. You know, some people have the time to wait for them to make queens, and some people don't have the time because of the climate that they live in, so they prefer to go ahead and just buy a queen and get it over with. Putting in just queen cells isn't 100% certainty either, but I think that they can do a better job than I can by just dropping in a queen of my choice. So still looking for the queen, just in case. I'm still looking for signs of a queen, like if eggs. Just making sure that with all the talking I've been doing, that I didn't miss her or the eggs. So we've been having, there was some storms yesterday. It hasn't rained in a few days. So I always worry when we have a lot of rain, a lot of storms, that the return of the queens isn't as reliable during bad weather days. So again, it's not 100%, but it works. I would say about a 70% success rate. And that's why it's important that you stay on top of them. Put eggs, check them every 5 days to make sure that they're progressing. This frame is like laid up and as if they're waiting for the queen to return. The entire center section is completely open and the outside is pollen. See if I can lay this and show you. So here's the line of the pollen right here, and it goes all the way around, and this whole section is completely open, as if as if the, you know, they're waiting for us. Say, hey, come on, and we're ready for you. Come on. And no eggs, lots of pollen. We'll look at one more frame. And then we'll close them up. This frame is where she came from. No eggs. 0. A little bit of brood left over from when I first put this frame in. Okay, we're done. We'll check again in another 4 or 5 days. We'll close her up and call it a day. So again, it's never certain when you do it like this, but it sure is a good way to be self-sufficient. And if you have plenty of hives that can donate eggs to this one, it'll work. It will work. You just gotta wait. Gotta give it time, but be on top of it. Don't slack off. Don't give them the attention that they need, because it will turn into a laying worker problem if you do nothing about it for a month and hope that because you put 1 frame of eggs that they're going to create a queen. Even if you put 2 frames of eggs, doesn't mean they're going to create a queen. You got to check on them. Make sure it's happening. Make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They do know what's best for themselves, but you still got to manage them. Put my little Swiffer pad on. Fortunately, these guys haven't had any issues with beetles or moths, despite them dwindling in numbers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, guys, go ahead and subscribe now. This is the right time to subscribe. Don't want you to forget. This way you can hit your notification button and know when my next videos are going to come out. I try to put frequent videos, and I do a little series like this so you can follow one hive. It's always nice to be able to watch a hive progress from small to big, and in this case from no queen to queen. So I appreciate everybody's subscription, and if you guys have any questions or comments, post them down below. you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, until next time, thanks for watching another episode of B to Z.